Jimmy Garoppolo played a hell of a game week 1. I was so down on him after watching him against the Chargers in particular and his own defense that I thought, man, there is no game that he can't give away right now. And he was just basically lights out. From what they asked him to do, he was money. What'd you think of him?
I thought he played really well. I thought they didn't ask him to do too much, right? They asked him to do the stuff that they normally would do, is over the middle throws and just basic stuff that they run, but it all works because of their running game. You get that running game going, and you're able to hit a couple of those linebackers start to step up, and it opens up the middle of the field. Yeah. And so they got the running game going, and Garoppolo was hitting early, and it all just worked out. His first half was about as good as he's played since 2017, probably.
Agreed. 2017, huh?
That those first 5 games, he had some really good games in there that were, he was hit a pretty high completion percentage. That was definitely, was by far his best.
He was
opening.
8 of 8, 9 of 9. What did he get to?
I think he got his first 8. I think. I know he finished 9 of 12 in the first half. I think he had his first incompletion probably around number 8. I think he goes 8 for 8, then he had incompletion.
Okay.
Right in the ballpark.
Now, hold on. I want to counter here.
Uh-huh.
You know what this game reminded me of a little bit of? To me, last year against the Jets. Now, he didn't make it through that game. He got hurt, but he went 14. I just looked it up. 14 for 16 in that game.
Yeah.
131 yards, 2 touchdowns, 140 quarter. He killed the Jets, got hurt, left. All I want to say is Jimmy is good enough to put a whooping on a bad defense. He's done it before, and I think maybe I get carried away talking about his negatives. He's definitely a serviceable quarterback who has and can and will put hurtings on bad defenses. So I'm glad to see that he did that again.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, the reason I go back to 2017 is because he was moving around a lot better. True. He was moving around a lot better than we have seen him since. Yeah, the brace is off. He was able to escape sacks a couple of times. I know the one time he threw the ball away, he got the grounding call, but he played really well in the first half, and he played decent in the second. There was a lot to like about his performance.
Are they going to trade him at the end of the year? Is this all an elaborate pump and dump where they do it for 12 months and then they get something good for him next year when the cap runs out?
I think it's going to be. I think they're going to probably move on from him at the end of this year. Okay. I think that's where we're. Why I said let's get back to this, because you're talking about the trade up, right?
Yeah.
I think a little bit about where I'm going with this, because I mentioned it to you before. I think what happened was, I think the original target was to stay at 12 and take the kid out of Alabama, Mac Jones. I think that was the original target, and I think that's why everybody got this wrong, because that's where they were going to go. Because they really liked him, but they weren't able to do anything with Garoppolo. They weren't able to get anybody in to be the backup. They were going to go with Jones, have him start, and they were going to have a backup like Andy Dalton or one of those guys, and they weren't able to get any of them. And then once that fell through, they pivoted and they said, okay, we're going to keep Jimmy for a year, maybe 2. Let's go with the guy with the higher upside that's going to be able to play maybe 2 years down the road. And then that's why they think they went the way that they did.
Makes sense.
I think Garoppolo. We're giving Garoppolo. We give Garoppolo a hard time. He's. It's funny because I was with you, and I'm still with you in terms of I would have started Lance, right? Mm-hmm. But you talked about the San Diego game, and after that San Diego game, I don't know. Maybe I was just looking at it differently because I knew at that point. Maybe it's because I knew at that point Lance wasn't going to beat him out, and it just seemed like that week in practice, it seemed like he was better. Leading into the Raider game, just saw him getting the ball down the field on time better. Still over the middle of the field.
So here's what I want to ask. So whether or not Jimmy Garoppolo is better right now than Trey Lance, he's a starter, and we both think he won't be the starter next year. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, okay, people are saying, well, it's not going to hurt Lance to sit on the bench for a year and learn. Like, he's not ready now, and it helped Mahomes, and it helped a lot of quarterbacks. What I would say, though, is I'm not sure that it necessarily is good for Lance to sit another year. He sat last year, and he doesn't have much playing experience. He played 1 year in college. I don't know how much he played in high school. It seems to me that if you get to next year and Jimmy has a good year this year and basically holds off Lance, and it's his team, and they go to the playoffs and win a game or whatever, and then you're like, okay, now we're going to trade Jimmy and move to Lance. Well, now you're looking at it's like, well, we have a good team, and Lance hasn't played in 2 years, and we don't even really know how good he is because we didn't really play him. I mean, isn't that a potential outcome here?
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's why I would have liked to have seen him get into the game in the second half, especially towards the end. But that's when the problem with that was they were up, what was it, 38-17. They made the kick field goals 41-17. They got the ball. And that's when it looked like they might make the switch, but they kept him in there. They went 3 and out, and then all heck broke loose.
Right. No, I understand. I mean, look, the way the game ended up, it justifies not playing him. But I still think that Kyle probably going forward needs to be proactive, looking for opportunities to get him on the field, not just to run the zone read either. I asked him yesterday on the conference call, like, basically, how is using him like Taysom Hill developing him as a quarterback? And he gave me one of these kind of, because it's better than nothing, is what he said, essentially. It's like,
right.
Well, not really.
No,
it's not really. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, it's not. I didn't like the way that they used them. But the way they started off using them made sense. They put them in the red zone. It was perfect, right? You have them in a good spot. You run them on the first time, and then he throws a play action pass for a touchdown. That all was good. But then the next 2 times you put them on the field or in the middle of the field, and you're just running the ball. What are you doing? Just hand the ball off to Elijah Mitchell on 3rd and 1 instead of doing that kind of garbage.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's only week 1, and I think what Kyle probably is doing is building the Trey Lance package up, maybe like 4 snaps week 1, 8 week 2, and then when you get it to a game where you may not necessarily be the overwhelming favorite, you can unleash something if you need it. Because I'm not necessarily certain they can beat the Seahawks with Jimmy Garoppolo the whole way. I mean, they may need a little bit more explosive element in their offense in some of these division games, and maybe that's what they're building up to. Because you could argue, you don't need to show that. There's an element of surprise that the Niners still have up their sleeve, and you can beat Detroit without revealing that yet.
Sure. Yeah. No. And I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. That could be one of the explanations for why he's doing what he did on Sunday. I just didn't like it, but that's the one thing. If I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, that's what I would say is maybe he's just trying to save something, but I don't really know how much saving there is because I think pretty much everybody that's watched him can go back and watch his film and know what he's going to do with this guy.
Yeah, we started talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, but it always comes back to Trey Lance because even the biggest Garoppolo supporters would say that he's not going to be on this team next year, and they have to find a way to get Trey Lance ready and confident, get the whole team confident that he's ready to take over next year. And one thing I want to say, I think people forget, Patrick Mahomes started a game as a rookie.
He did. Last game.
17. Yes. They had a playoff spot locked up. They let him start, and he looked really freaking good. And he won. So it made the whole transition a lot easier. Like, okay, he's ready. He's ready. And we were just being conservative and cautious for the sake of it. Fine. And Alex Smith was great too. So at some point, I'd like to see Trey Lance start a game this year. I'd like to see him finish the season with 50, 60, 70 throws, because why not? Now, it'll be tough, but if you can do it week 17, great. Find a time.
Yeah, I think they should be able to get him 60 or 70 throws this season. If if they don't get him that number, then they've done him a disservice. And the organization.
35 his rookie year. That's it. But
yeah, he only got those were all in the last game of the season.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. 22 with 35. Real quick. 22 with 35, 284 yards, no touchdowns at a pick.
Yeah, he was good though. It was his first start. For his first start, he played pretty well. It wasn't like he was bad at all.